Someone is standing at a jewelry counter right now, about to spend thousands on a diamond. They make that decision based almost entirely on a tiny logo on a piece of plastic. That little badge masks one of the oldest psychological dilemmas in commerce. When you are buying something valuable, how do you trust the physical properties of an item that you cannot verify with your own eyes? In the 3rd century BC, King Hiero suspected his goldsmith diluted a gold crown with silver. Archimedes realized that by dropping the crown into a bath and watching the water rise, displacement could expose the object's true density. Since antiquity, human beings have recognized a harsh truth. A seller's word is never enough. If you truly want to prove value, you have to build an objective physical tool to accurately measure it. While Archimedes used water, assayers in India used the Kasadi touchstone, scraping gold across its surface to test purity by the color of the streak. In England, goldsmiths formalized physical verification into a strict, state-backed hallmarking system. You could weigh the metal, test its density, and stamp it. Both systems solved metal, weight, density, purity, measurable. But gemstones stayed completely unsolved. Color is entirely subjective depending on the lighting conditions, and clarity hides deep inside the physical structure of the stone. For centuries, the exchange of immense wealth in the gemstone trade relied on a massive vulnerability. Buying a diamond meant placing complete blind faith in the person standing on the exact opposite side of the counter. That vulnerability persisted until 1953, when the Gemological Institute of America stepped in to enforce scientific rigor on an incredibly messy industry. They developed the 4 C's. Instead of relying on a merchant's poetic description of a stone, every diamond could now be organized into measurable data: cut, color, clarity, carat. This converted a fragmented global network into a unified system with its first shared language. The creation of the 4 C's finally replaced the merchant's personal opinion with transmittable, objective data. Early certification had a massive geographic flaw. The laboratories were primarily built in the United States and Europe, entirely separated from where the physical supply chain actually operated. The reality is, 9 out of every 10 stones pass through a single, massive choke point, the cutting and polishing centers of Surat, India. Instead of issuing reports from thousands of miles away, the International Gemological Institute embedded massive laboratory infrastructure directly inside this Indian supply flow. They met the stones where they were already moving. Dominating the modern trust market requires capturing the product at its densest geographical choke point before it ever reaches a consumer. Today, major volume retailers rely heavily on these external labs. Brands like Carat Lane and Bluestone utilize outsourced certificates from IGI and GIA to instantly inject consumer confidence into their inventory. Tanishq takes the exact opposite approach. They intentionally reject third-party certification on their finished retail jewelry, choosing instead to build, staff, and maintain their own internal gemology labs. This creates a stark strategic divide in modern retail. A brand must decide whether to pay a fee to rent an external laboratory's authority or spend the capital to build that authority internally. The external laboratory model is highly lucrative because of a specific mechanical choice. These labs do not take a percentage of a diamond's retail value. They charge a flat fee for every single report they issue. The math behind this is aggressive. Recent filings show IGI generating roughly 1,598 crore rupees in revenue over a 15-month period, boasting a 60.9% operating margin and carrying 0 long-term debt. This chart illustrates the ultimate industry hedge. The downward line shows retail diamond prices dropping, like we saw in the recent lab-grown market crash. But the rising vertical bars represent the volume of new stones moving through the system. Even when the underlying asset devalues, the labs continue to profit off the volume. The most reliable profits in the diamond trade don't come from speculating on the value of the stones. They come from monetizing consumer anxiety by mass-producing trust. This model does have systemic vulnerabilities. If major retailers universally adopt Tanishq's in-house verification strategy, or if competitors like GIA heavily undercut the lab-grown market, that high-margin volume could dry up. Over 4,000 years of commerce, the tools of verification have evolved to match the scale of the trade. Archimedes utilized water, GIA weaponized science, IGI leveraged sheer global scale. Consumer trust is not a natural occurrence or a feeling. It is a highly engineered technology. The only question left is what system you rely on to verify the truth.
If you like our video, please like, share, and subscribe.